When the heart suddenly stops pumping effectively, the patient can die within minutes. And during sudden cardiac arrest, the AED becomes one of the most important roles or tools in EMS. Because early CPR and early defibrillation saves lives. In this video, we're breaking down sudden cardiac arrest, how the AED works, shockable versus non-shockable rhythms, and the biggest mistakes EMT students make during resuscitation. Let's get into it. What is cardiac arrest? Cardiac arrest occurs when the heart suddenly stops pumping. That means circulation stops, oxygen delivery stops, and the brain and organs immediately begin suffering from lack of perfusion. Without intervention, death occurs quickly. Now, here's something important. Cardiac arrest is not the same thing as a heart attack. A heart attack is a circulation problem to the heart muscle. Cardiac arrest is an electrical and pumping failure problem. But heart attacks can lead to cardiac arrest. What EMTs see during cardiac arrest. Cardiac arrest patients are typically unresponsive, not breathing normally, and pulseless. And remember, agonal breaths or agonal gasp are not normal breathing. Agonal respirations may occur early in cardiac arrest, but they are ineffective. If the patient is unresponsive, pulseless, and only gasping, begin CPR immediately. Why CPR matters. CPR manually pumps blood through the body. Chest compressions help circulate oxygen, maintain minimal perfusion, and buy time until defibrillation and advanced care occur. High-quality CPR is one of the most important parts of cardiac arrest management because without circulation, defibrillation becomes less effective. So, what does an AED do? AED stands for Automated External Defibrillator. The AED analyzes the heart's electrical activity and determines whether a shock is advised. Now, this is critical. The AED does not restart the heart. The shock temporarily stops chaotic electrical activity, and that gives the heart a chance to reset into an organized rhythm. Shockable rhythms. There are two major shockable rhythms EMTs should know. The two major shockable rhythms EMTs should know are ventricular fibrillation and pulseless ventricular tachycardia. Ventricular fibrillation, or V-Fib, is chaotic, disorganized electrical activity. The heart quivers instead of pumping. Pulseless ventricular tachycardia is a rapid rhythm that prevents effective circulation. These rhythms may respond to defibrillation. So let's talk about non-shockable rhythms. These include asystole and pulseless electrical activity, or also known as PEA. Asystole is essentially a flat line, and PEA means electrical activity exists, but the heart is not producing effective mechanical contractions. And here's the key. The AED will not advise a shock for these rhythms. CPR must continue. How to use an AED. Now let's walk through the basic AED process. First, confirm. Are they unresponsive? Is there an absent pulse? And do they have abnormal breathing? Then begin CPR. Power on the AED, expose the chest, and apply the pads. One of the pads goes in the upper right chest. The other is the left lateral chest below the armpit. Then follow the AED prompts. And this is a very important part. During rhythm analysis, nobody should touch the patient. So during shock delivery, if the AED advises a shock, clear the patient completely. Visually confirm nobody is touching the patient or the stretcher or equipment connected to them. This is generally done by saying, I'm clear, you're clear, everybody's clear. Then deliver the shock. Immediately resume CPR. Do not waste time checking for a pulse for long periods and minimize interruptions. All right, now we're going to talk about biggest EMT student mistakes. Biggest mistakes EMT students make. 1. Interrupting compressions too long. 2. Forgetting scene control during shocks. 3. Delaying AED application. 4. Focusing more on the monitor than CPR. Remember, high-quality compressions save lives. High-quality CPR. Good CPR includes proper compression depth, proper rate, full chest recoil, and minimal interruptions. Push hard, push fast, and allow for recoil. Also, remember, rotate compressors when possible because fatigue reduces CPR quality. All right, real EMT thinking. Good EMTs constantly ask, are compressions effective? Are interruptions minimized? Is ventilation adequate? Is scene control maintained? Is ROSC occurring? Because cardiac arrest management requires teamwork, communication, and constant reassessment. Why early defibrillation matters. One of the most important EMS concepts, early defibrillation saves lives. The longer ventricular fibrillation continues, the lower the chance of survival becomes. That's why early CPR, early AED use, and rapid resuscitation matter so much during cardiac arrest. AEDs are one of the most important life-saving tools an EMT can use because during sudden cardiac arrest, minutes matter. And understanding shockable rhythms, CPR quality, AED operations, and minimizing interruptions can absolutely save a patient's life. If this video helps, subscribe because the next in the resuscitation series we're covering CPR mistakes EMT students make, sudden cardiac arrest recognition, pediatric resuscitation, and advanced airway considerations during cardiac arrest. And those are all major NREMT resuscitation topics.